Bobby, you faced the Packers a number of times over the years, but this Packers team looks a little bit different. What have you seen as far as how they perhaps changed their offense or what you need to do different?
I think the obvious changes. I think they have a run game that they kind of depend on a little bit. They, have a great back there. He's able to, rally off games where he, rushes for 100 yards or whatever. And I feel like that really steps up their play action game, their boot game, things of that nature. So I think the run game really complements what they do well already passing wise. And so I would say that's the biggest difference that I see on film.
Does Aaron Jones compare to any running back that you've seen this season?
Not really. I feel like he has a unique style. He has the speed to kind of get away from you, try to stiff arm you, try to lower your shoulder. Just a good back.
You see similarities, Bobby, in how the Packers run their offense, or at least dress it up compared to kind of the Niners and Rams that you've seen a lot of over the last couple of years?
It's a little bit different because I feel like you can see the Niners and the Rams start to use 12 personnel a little bit more. They try to use 12, but they don't do the same things when they have 12 personnel. So they all come from the same tree. So they have similar things, but they just have different weapons, and they use them in a different way.
How's Rodgers being under center more changed that? How different is that for you?
It doesn't really change. I mean, he's still a good quarterback, still able to read. He's getting the ball out a lot faster, it seems like. He's still pretty good at the play action fake and boot face and all that stuff. So I don't think it changes much. I just think, maybe the footwork and the timing of the routes and things like that are different. But outside of that, I don't think it's much of a change.
How much of a bigger challenge is it to get pressure on him this week than what you were able to do last week?
Say it one more time.
How much of a greater challenge will it be to get pressure on Aaron this week? You guys had a lot of success last week, but obviously the quarterback's different.
It'll be pretty difficult because, like I said, he's getting the ball out pretty quick, especially when he dropped back. He's trying to get the ball out fast, find his receivers, and put the ball in their hands to make plays. So it's going to be tough, but we feel like we can do it.
Having to play in 25, 30-degree weather, whatever it's supposed to be Sunday, does that not seem like as big a deal after playing in the Minneapolis playoff game?
Yeah, it's not a big deal, man. I've never been in a game like that before where you sneeze and before the snot come out your nose, it turns into ice. So as long as it's not that, I think we're going to be good. I saw guys' eyes get watered shut from when the tears kind of came right here. Their eyes was watered shut. Cam got frostbite, I thought. And so if it's not that, I think we're good.
What was the biggest thing that you learned from that game about playing in extreme cold like that?
Might want to consider some sleeves, maybe. And stay by the warmer as much as you can.
You gonna go sleeves on Sunday?
No sleeves, man.
Aaron Rodgers has been really good at the hard count, faking guys off sides for years. Everyone knows it's coming. Why do you think it still works? Everyone knows he's going to do it. He finds a way to do it at the right time. The time when you least expect it, you'll look at the clock and see it's down to 1 second, and you think, okay, there's no way he can hard count, and he still hard counts anyways and draws you outside right at the last second. So, he's a master of the craft. Obviously, he studies the game, and so that's something that we have to be conscious of and understand. With that, making sure we stay on sides, and then this team likes to change personnel and try to catch you running off the field and snapping the ball while you're changing personnel. So we have to make sure that we don't get hurt by those little things, little details that we can be on. You played it a lot. Can you see when it's coming, the hard counts?
Nah, he's pretty good at it. So, yeah, and I'm off the ball. So even if it gets me, I got enough space to recover. It's more so the D-line.
Do you have to be more conscious of disguising your defense because he's so good at dissecting it and figuring it out before the play?
A little bit, but you don't want to get too caught up in disguising to the point where he catches you out of position because you're trying to trick him. At the end of the day, he's been in the game for a long time. It's not too many looks that he hasn't seen. And so you're not necessarily going to, out-trick him majority of the time. You got to execute your defense. And I feel like if you execute your defense, you'll be fine. I think sometimes people get in trouble trying to trick somebody who kind of, seen it all. And so sometimes you got to line up and play football.
Are they more reliant on Jones in the running game right now than previous iterations of this team when you faced them?
I would say the running game seems to be a lot stronger than it was, when we played them before. Obviously I have a lot of confidence in the running game, but it's still a great quarterback out there. We're not going to, just try to overthink the run game and forget that he can throw the ball and do the things that he's capable of doing. So we got to find a way to make them one-dimensional, and it should be a fun matchup.
Do they use Jimmy Graham differently than when he was here, and what will it be like for you, I guess, if you get matched up against him and all that?
Try to hit him 100%. Try to hit him a lot. If he try to box me out, because he thinks he's good at basketball, but he knows I'll beat him. So, I think they use him, kind of the same. He's a big guy, so you try to get him up on matchups and things of that nature. When he's kind of closer to the core, you don't really, he's such a good route runner and things like that. You don't really expect him to block too much. So it's kind of like that. It's not too different than what we've seen when he was here, what we've seen when he was with the Saints. Obviously, he's a great receiving tight end, so they're going to find ways to get him the ball and get him in matchups that they feel are in their favor.
How would you describe how the defense came together for those 7 sacks on Sunday?
I would say I think we were just really relentless. I felt like we were doing a great job of really going after the ball, because a lot of it, a couple of those sacks were just guys hustling and trying to get him before he escaped. So, we just our mindset was on it. We were relentless. We knew that it was going to be really big part of our game, and obviously it helped us out a lot. Those sacks, and there were some key sacks in really crucial moments.
Similar mindset, I would imagine.
100%. Going to try to chase this guy down.
Cody seemed like he was a lot more comfortable this past week, just making more plays. What did you see out of him from maybe when he first started against the Rams to the game he played this past week?
Yeah, I think as you gain that experience, you gain confidence as well. The first couple games is always like trying to figure out, is this game like college? Is it faster? Is it whatever? But once you kind of settle down and realize it's just a game of football, he's starting to get confident. He's really smart. He picked up the defense really, really fast. And so sometimes it's just getting out there, not overthinking, and just making plays. And that's what he did. He did a really good job of in the zone. He had a couple pass breakups, sacks, a couple hits in the run game. And that's all you want to do. You want to make some hits, try to change the game in a positive way, and then build on that each week.
In a playoff game, whether it's in Chicago or Green Bay, there's always somebody that shows up for pregame warm-ups without a shirt on. Always a couple guys. Do you have any predictions of who that might be from your team?
Who would show up without a shirt? I'm going to just say Russell. I say Russell shows up without a shirt, and then DK wears a hoodie. So I'm going to assume that something's going to be so opposite that what you expect.
Is that a dare?
Huh? That's not a dare. That's just me putting it out there. Like I said, if it's as cold as it was in Minnesota, sleeves is probably a lot smarter than no sleeves. But I won't be in sleeves.
What's the threshold for you?
What?
Where's the crossover point for sleeves, no sleeves?
If you get past like -10, I got to start debating, whether or not I get in it. I think the Minnesota game was like -5 or something like that. Wind chill was 20. So when the wind chill get up to about 21, then you got to think about it.
These two teams have played a number of games with bizarre, wild finishes. Is there anything to that, and do you expect more of the same?
These two teams, like us?
You and the Packers.
Oh, okay.
The NFC title game, the Family game. There's been a few like that have just kind of ended in different fashion. Do you expect more of the same, and any idea why that is?
It would be nice for us to just, come in there, win, and go home, and maybe the sun comes out while we're winning. The games that we played in the past, I just think, they've just kind of happened that way. The game in the NFC Championship game, we threw some picks, we made some turnovers, we win in the last second. It just kind of happens that way. It's not something that you necessarily plan, but, it's two teams that want to win, especially when it comes to the playoffs. You understand what's on the line. There's no next week. There's no go to film and correct your mistakes and try to do better next week. It's either you win or you go home. So I think when that's at stake, guys understand that, and it makes for really entertaining games.
What was it like having Quandre back last week?
Yeah, it was amazing. It's a guy that's been around the game for a long time. His communication, his experience, the way he comes down and makes plays from the secondary position and tackles, the way he's, red line to red line safety, and his leadership has just been amazing for our team, and he's been such a great addition to the team, but he still can't beat me in basketball. So,
do you lean on him much this week because of his history playing against the Packers a couple times a year, or are they that much different this year that his history doesn't play that much of a role?
I think it still kind of plays a role. You kind of understand because they still have concepts that they like. And obviously when you bring in a new coordinator, they're going to keep some of those concepts that A-Rod like to have. So definitely talk to him and figure out, what are some of the concepts that he thinks that they're going to still, have in their repertoire and how we can kind of get a beat on that, because he's a really smart guy and any knowledge that he has is always good to gain.
KJ mentioned after the Eagles game that Diggs was calling out plays that he anticipated. Does that happen a lot with Diggs, and doesn't happen with the other guys?
Well, Diggs is so far back from me, so if he calling out, I can't hear it. But I think the play that KJ was talking about was he knew the running back was coming out on that final fourth down play, and so he wasn't sure if Clowney got the communication or not. So he kind of made sure that Clowney knew that the guy was coming out and was going to help Clowney on that play had he not got the communication. But he does that a lot. He's, like I said, he's a really smart safety. He understands concepts really well, and that's something that we noticed when he first got here. He was able to call out certain routes, call out certain plays at practice, and he's done it in the game as well. And so his intelligence is just, off the charts, and it's a great addition to our team for sure.
KJ was saying that after the game, he said he had a vision during the week that you guys were going to hold him without a touchdown during the game. Has he had any visions this week that he shared with you?
Yeah, I haven't had the KJ visions yet. So they've been.
Do you believe him that he really predicted that?
He did say that. He did say that the team shouldn't score on us, and so we were able to kind of get that outside of the field goals. And so, KJ visions kind of work for us. So when y'all see him, let him know what type of visions he have, and hopefully there's some positive ones.
How does that work? Does he read his own palm or something?
I don't know. It's KJ. He's always right. So I'm pretty sure no matter what the vision is, it will be right with a W in front.
It was reported earlier in the year that basically the deal that LaFleur and Rodgers have worked out, whether it's out to the 20, LaFleur's calling plays and running the show, and then once it gets in the red zone, Rodgers kind of takes over in terms of what he's feeling, what he's seeing, and all of that. And can you see when you're watching tape when that switch flips and when it's all 12, inside the 20?
Nah, I think I think Aaron's a little bit more seasoned vet than to kind of let that kind of be seen on film. But that's not something that I knew about. But I just knew when I sit there and I watch people make checks, at the end of the day, no matter what the play the coach calls, it's always an audible kind of attached to that call, and that's always out of the quarterback's discretion. So no matter what the play's being called, Aaron still has an opportunity to change it to something or not change it to something. So whether that's in the 20 or the red zone, you would think that, a guy like that would have a little bit more control to be able to audible into something if he sees something on the field. Do you think it's where it was before, or Peyton Manning or Tom Brady? Maybe it's not because they're still kind of young in their relationship, but I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to that point.
You thought Elliott Bradley played this year?
I thought he's been playing amazing, especially like last game. It's one of his best games. I think it was 11 tackles, sack, a couple TFLs. He's just been great. He's been more vocal this year, a great leader, a guy that you can count on, knowing that he's going to be in the right spot, great teammate, very, very fun person to be around, very entertaining, very energetic, and, great guy to be around for sure.
How do you feel about how Ugo's been at nickel and then on another rookie? You're not playing a ton of snaps in dime, but what does that dime spot allow, Marquise Blair to shine maybe in those limited reps? How does that cater to his skill set?
I feel like both rooks came in, ready to play. You know, nickel position is a very tough position because when you see a rookie at that spot, the quarterback tends to try to find ways to try him, and I feel like he's done a great job. He's a really good learner, a person who wants to be great, and that's all you can ask for, you know, from a guy coming into the league. And so, you know, we've been really impressed with him with Marquise. I've always been impressed with him. He's done a great job since he's been here. You know, it's just, you know, him being in dime just allows him to be on the field and make plays that I know he's capable of making. And as he grows, I'm pretty sure he's going to make a lot more plays. So, you know, I think at the end of the day, gaining experience or getting experience is always good for, you know, learning what your future holds.
Anything else?
Good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate you guys.
Bobby, who wins the dunk contest? You or Jimmy?
Me. Me. I mean, you know, we got to blow on the rim just a tad, but I got it.
You dunk on the table? Yeah, I'm done.